Good evening. I'd like to call the August 14th, 2023 School Board meeting to order. Roll call. Ms. Jamison, Ms. Ann Luckenbill is absent today. All other board members are present. Would the audience please join us for a moment of silence? Thank you. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Is there a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Tonight we have quite a few recognitions to give. And we will start with Ms. Smith, our vice chair, will have the awards. I will call the student sponsors down, and the sponsor will then introduce our students to the audience. Our first ZAPP award is the student recognition for the 2023 VHSL Class 4 Girls All-State Soccer from Eastern View. Would Ms. Gwynn please come down? She's not here. Well, how about Anne Marie? Is Anne Marie here? Well, then we will hold Anne Marie's and give it to Ms. Gwynn because Anne Marie graduated last year and I'm sure is out to college already. So Ms. Smith will hold on to that. We'll get that to Ms. Gwynn. Our next recognition is the 2023 Eastern View VHSL Class 4 Girls All-State Tennis. Would Ms. McWilliams come down to introduce the student? Would you tell us a little bit about Miranda, please?
Okay. All right, so here's this. All right, so thank you to the board for recognizing all these amazing students tonight. It's a great way to start the school year. Congrats for every student being honored tonight. Tennis season is really unique. It's a very, very long season, especially when you have an amazing athlete like Miranda who made it to the state tournament. Miranda already graduated well before, almost a month before she even competed in the state tournament. She graduated from Eastern View, she graduated from Germanna as a Germanna scholar, and then she still had about 3 weeks to compete, or to wait before she competed in states. While many student athletes are kind of over it, especially once they graduate, that's what sets Miranda apart. Her drive and dedication are among the top athletes that I've worked with in my 15-year career. And while those qualities are important in athletics, it's Miranda's leadership and character that are going to make us the most proud. Thank you to Alex Curnow, who was one of her most valued coaches throughout her entire career and really helped get her ready for states. Thank you to Bobby and Becky for just being such supports and sharing both of your daughters with Eastern View and just being such amazing parents to kind of have in our corner. You're joining your big sister at JMU next week. Miranda, you're going to do amazing. It has been an honor and a privilege to coach you in your finale. Really, I kind of came in at the very end, and it's just been so great. So you're going to do amazing things. It's been a privilege, and congratulations.
Thank you. Our next award on student recognition will be from Culpeper County High School for the 2023 VHSL Class 3 All-States Softball. Miss Carroll, would you come down and tell us about Kaylee?
I just got a message from mom that says they're tied up, but we might be able to get up here in time. I apologize.
That's okay. We'll just move on. Thank you, Dr. Soderholm. All right, our next student recognition is from, let's see, also CCHS, but it's Mr. Dennis and Mr. Keek, and they are going to tell us about the 2023 VHSL Class 3 Girls All-State Outdoor Track. Is Mr. Dennis and Mr. Keek here tonight? Hi. It's for Teresa. And this one.
Teresa, come up. You see your name up there, guys.
I'll call him, I'll tell him to stay there. Okay. All right.
So last time I was here, I think I remember correctly, it was the week after Teresa went to Nike Nationals. No, it was after Nike. It's before Adidas. I have a good, okay, I can remember. So she had just lost. She was down. That was the first loss she had taken in a very long time. And I said, well, next week we have another chance. This isn't for that, but just to update y'all, she was a national champion at Adidas that next week after we left here. So, yeah. So coming off her national championship outdoor season, she went and won every event that she was in, shot put and discus. She now holds every throwing record at Culpeper High School. I need a book. What else? She hurt her back about halfway through the season. So she ended up, once she PR'd, she hurt her back right after that. Ended up not doing as well as she was doing, still won the state championship in both. But, I mean, to her standards, she had a terrible season. Still went to nationals, but I think it was a great learning process. She now understands that you need to listen to your body. She has multiple offers for colleges. I'm not gonna throw any names out. Okay, I won't throw any names. So we're gonna go into the season and hope for another huge year from her. She's been a great student. Works part-time at the high school. Does everything the right way. She's starting to even listen now, so that's a cool thing. But the 4 years that I've had a chance to spend with her, the 4 years that I've had with her, it's been amazing, so I can't wait to end it off the right way. Congratulations.
If Mr. Dennis and Mr. Keek, would you stay up and now tell us a little bit about the 2023 VHSL Class 3 Boys All-State Outdoor Track? They are Michael, Caleb, Garrett, Christian, and TJ.
Okay, so I will start with Michael Blamo. Michael will be going to VCU next week? Friday. Michael leaves Friday for VCU. Michael was always a great athlete for me through all his years. I tried to get him to do multiple events that I thought he would be good at, one of which was hurdles. We had some hurdle incidents with kids, and he was like, I'm not doing that. So finally, his senior year, he decided that, okay, I'll try it. First time he ever ran hurdles, he ran the #1 time in the state. And he comes to me and he says, I probably should have started doing this earlier. I agreed. That time held up pretty well. He went to the state meet, ranked 3rd in the state, ended up finishing state runner-up. Should have been state champion, but, you know, it's okay. It's okay. State runner-up, first year he ran hurdles. First season he ran hurdles. He didn't even run indoor, so outdoor was his first season. Great kid. He can do any event, 400 and down, even though he does not want to do the 400. Nobody does. But I hope all the success in the world comes to you. I hope you do actually decide to run at VCU and continue your track career. So congratulations. It's been great coaching. Okay, I'm just going to do, this is for the 4x1. So everyone else was in the same event. This was a great group of kids right here. They ran the 2nd and 3rd fastest times in school history in the 4x1 as sophomore, junior. So all 4 of them are coming back next year. They were only 0.08 away from the 0.08 away from the school record. So needless to say, that should be going down this year. Between these guys and Teresa, by the time they graduate, I'm expecting about 10 school records. So that's how good of a group these kids are. They all do multiple events. Garrett was a jumper. His season wasn't going too well. He was getting frustrated. I was like, let's work on some speed. Let's try to get faster. Garrett took off half a second in his 100. Saw him running curves one day. I was like, nobody can keep up with you on the curve. See what you can do. I put him in, ran the 2nd fastest time in the state in the 4x1. Caleb jumped 22:10 as a sophomore at States. To put that in perspective, he finished 4th. He's not even here for that. But if he did that last year, he would have got 2nd in the state. 3A was just absolutely crazy this year. TJ, state qualifier, 2 events, 3 events. My man Christian right here. State and national qualifier, 3 events. He ran 11-1 as a sophomore, so I'm expecting the school record to go down next year with him also. It's just wonderful kids right here. I expect all of them to be college all-stars and represent Culpeper the way I know they can. So it's been a pleasure coaching y'all. Can't wait for this year.
Thank you very much. Thank you, coaches. We will now have Mr. Kilby from Eastern View come to tell us about the 2023 VHSL Class 4 Girls All-State Track, and Holly.
So I want to thank you guys
want to thank the board again. I know that you've already been thanked once, but I want to thank you again for recognizing these young men and women for the hard work that they put in, because it is truly work. The last time that I was here, I was talking about Holly's sister, and Holly waited patiently. She's been waiting patiently, and today I'm here to talk about her. The high jump is a tough event. It's a really tough event. It takes a lot of mental focus and a lot of dedication to the event. And we've had our ups and we've had our downs. And there's been times where I was like, we're not jumping anymore. Just go over the corner and do something else. We're not going to do it again. But she always pops back up like, Coach, I want to give it another try. And I'm a sucker for second chances. So I'm like, let's keep on going. And slowly but surely, she's been able to prove all the naysayers wrong. She is a runner. A part of the 4x4 relay team, extraordinary 800-meter runner she's going to do some great things this year. But high jump was one of those things she just loves to do. And we get to the state meet, we're looking at the chances of us doing something like decent, and then she just said, Coach, I feel good. I feel really good today. I don't know why I'm feeling so good today. And I'm like, well, just apply it. And she went out. I tried not to look at her. She clears the first one. She clears the second one. Then I look up, and it's like her and like 3 other kids in the state, and I'm like, holy smokes. And she just continues to get better. I could talk for days about her, and I'm sure we're going to be up here a lot more times. We're going to be up here a lot more. And again, just congratulations on all your work. Stay true to what you do, and sky's the limits. She's looking forward to some big college plans, and we're starting to work now as a junior. So congratulations. And thanks to all her teammates for coming out today.
Delana was not here.
No, she's here. She's right next to Dr. Sanders.
Okay. All right, thank you. Our next recipient will be the 23-24 State Secretary for Ms. Grace Walrob. However, the sponsor, Ms. Delano, will come and talk a little bit about Grace.
Thank you. Grace was really excited about this. All right, on the TV, yay. Grace was really excited about this. She is actually at dinner with the governor for a meeting for the state FFA officer team, and so she was unable to make it. I said, well, can't argue with that, right? Yeah, we'll let her go. Grace did a state officer interview process for FFA, which most of us, I know, as many jobs as I've interviewed for, including the one that I've had for going on 20 years now, did not go through the interview process that young lady did for her state officer position. It's a really hard, it's a very demanding, grueling process for them. And so for any student that gets awarded that state office, it is a magnificently big deal. I've known her since she was in middle school, and she is at this point a much better public speaker than I am, because I'm up here shaking in my boots, Grace, or my sandals. And so I know she's very excited about this. She was honored to be awarded and is excited to serve as their FFA State Secretary this year. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and send Grace our congratulations. If Ms. Suter and Ms. Shin would come down, we are going to hear about the 2023-24 FFA Veterinary Science Team State winners, Samantha, Brooke, Hannah, and Natasha.
Before we start recognizing our FFA successes this evening, I just want to take a minute and say that the programs that we have in Culpeper County would not be as successful as they are if we didn't have the support that we have from our central office, our school board, our building level administration, our parents, and our community. So we are very fortunate and blessed in Culpeper County, and I would like to thank everyone for that support. At this time, I want to recognize our Vet Science FFA team. They did win the state competition and will be competing in the national FFA competition, which will be held in Indianapolis, Indiana in November. So we are very proud of them. I do need to also recognize their volunteer coach, who is not here tonight, Ms. Samantha Martinowski. Folks, she would not be happy about me talking about her tonight, but she's not here, so I can go on, right? She has spent, I wouldn't even want to guess how many hours of her free time, unpaid obviously, working with these young ladies for the past 2 years. And so last year she got them to second place, and this year they worked hard, they went to first, they're already practicing for nationals. And so I do want to take a minute and thank her, even though she is not here, and recognize her for all of those hours that she has volunteered. So at this time, let's recognize these ladies. We have Miss Hannah McDermott, Natasha Pepples, Brooke Galvin, and Samantha Fry.
Now, if Ms. Shin and Ms. Suda would please stay up here with us. We are going to hear about the 2023-2024 FFA Agri-Science Fair Team State winner, Madison, Maddie, and Megan.
Okay, I have the distinct honor of introducing these three ladies that participated in our state agri-science fair. So this was our first year as a school participating in this event. So first of all, thanks to them for working with us on and learning with us as we learned the program. But they all competed at the state level in different categories. So the agri-science fair, if you think like middle school, elementary school science fair project, it's a much bigger, amped up version of that. So Madison competed in the environmental science division, where she had a project where she tested best management practices and water quality. Maddie and Megan both participated in the social science category. Megan's project was on hormone implants in beef cattle, where she conducted surveys for both beef cattle producers and people in the community who are eating the beef to see what their opinions were on the use of hormonal implants. And Maddie did one on the difference in consumer perception with milk packaging. So she actually compared 4 different types of milk and blindly taste tested consumers to see if that packaging in fact determined what they preferred for their milk product. So all 3 of these ladies at the state level won their individual competitions, and then their projects were moved on to the national level, where Maddie and Madison have already won a bronze medal. And Megan is a national finalist. So what that means is she is in the top 10 in the entire country for her division. So Megan gets to go on and compete at the Big E and at the national convention, both in September and November. So. And I do want to throw out there real fast that while every other student was checking out in the month of May, these 3 combined wrote over 60 pages in scientific papers, and 2 of them were actually at school the day after school ended for like 6 hours working on their papers. So they did a lot of work for it.
Thank you. Ms. Suter and Ms. Shin, don't go anywhere. because you are now going to tell us about the 2023-24 FFA Dairy Handler Contest State winner, Cameron.
Yes, you're So Cameron is a recent graduate of Eastern View High School, and she got to compete just actually last week or the week before. We went over to Harrisonburg, Virginia for the state dairy show, where she got the fun contest. She got to literally show a dairy cow. So if you picture like a dog show where they're walking around and highlighting the best features of the animal, that's exactly what she got to do for the dairy industry and the dairy promotion breeds. She did a great job. She, in my opinion, was hands down the winner, and she gets to go represent us at the national convention in Indianapolis in November as well. So congratulations to her.
Thank you. And Ms. Suter and Ms. Shin, don't you go away. And I'm going to add Mr. Duncan to the crowd. And we are now going to recognize Mrs. Suter, Mrs. Shin, and Mr. Duncan as the 2023-2024 State FFA Outstanding Ag Program Award from the Virginia Association of Ag Educators. And I am sure that there is enough, that our next person is going to be Ms. Richards Lutz, and Dr. Bob will come up and talk to us about another outstanding award coming up. And of course, Ms. Suter has to stay. She can't go.
Good evening. Dr. Brads and members of the board, thank you for your continued support of career and technical education. It is the greatest honor and a true joy to introduce Mrs. Melissa Suter, who is an agriculture education teacher at Eastern View High School. Culpeper County is honored and blessed to be the home of the Virginia State Agriculture Education Teacher of the Year. Let's clap for that one. Oh, there's more. There's more. And most recently, she was named the Region 6 of the United States Agriculture Education Teacher of the Year. She will receive her award in Phoenix, Arizona in November, and we thank the Virginia Ag Teachers Association for paying for her trip to Phoenix, Arizona. And I'm going to introduce Dr. Bob, who has a little more to say.
In case you didn't notice how humble she is, she doesn't even want to stand up here. Ms. Suter, I just want to say a few things. Number one, thank you for being who you are for me when I was a rookie high school principal. Anybody that's been a building principal will tell you that in about 10 minutes you realize any success you have at all is solely linked to your teachers. And Ms. Suter is one of the best I've ever been around. It took me about a month to realize in the morning she would sneak up to me and say, I've got this idea. And then we would do it and it would be amazing and I wouldn't have to do any of the work and yet I got some of the credit. So I learned eventually when she asks me something, I just say yes, I get out of her way, and when she's done, I just say thank you. What she does for our students, what she does for her colleagues, what she does for the building, with the greenhouse, with Teacher Appreciation Week. She puts in more hours than anybody in this building, and we are so lucky to have you, and I'm personally lucky that you work for me. Thank you for everything.
Thank you so much. And finally, Ms. Suter can sit down. We have this one. Let's just do it now. Okay. All right, we are going to go back a little bit and have a student recognition. Would Ms. Carroll please come down? We are going to recognize the 2023 CCHS Class 3 All-State Softball, Kaylee Quinn.
Okay. Hi, I'm Coach Carroll. I just wanted to take a minute and talk about Kylie for a minute. I've known Kylie for about 4 years, and she's been nothing but sunshine and rainbows the entire time that I've had her as a player. She's worked incredibly hard this year, and to sit in at district meetings, regional meetings, and to hear about the state meeting, and to know that no other player statistically came close. Like, not even close. I mean, hitting over 500, 600 on the season, 5 home runs, something like that. Crazy, ridiculous talent, is going to be a tremendous force when she goes on to college this summer. So congratulations, Kylie.
Thank you very much. And our last ZAPP award for the night is a very special one as well. Miss Hoover will do the introduction for a special school recognition. Miss Hoover?
Good evening. Culpeper County Public Schools is pleased to announce that Sycamore Park Elementary School has been awarded the 22-23 Virginia Department of Education Exemplar Award for Continuous Improvement. So I would like to invite Mr. McWilliams and Mrs. Kukowski to come forward. I'll say a little bit more about the award that they've received, but we can clap too. Sycamore Park has earned this award because the school demonstrated an increase in the combined rate for 2 or more student groups in reading and math for each of the past 3 years, with a total increase across the 3 years of 10 points or more. So tonight we'd like to highlight the hard work and dedication of the staff and students of Sycamore Park for earning this Exemplar Performance Award.
Thank you. We are slightly the oldest students getting recognized tonight. It's hard to follow all the wonderful things that you guys are doing, but we truly appreciate it. Dr. Brads, the board, thank you all for your support. Again, we appreciate that. We're blessed. We have some of the hardest working teachers that I've ever been around. Sycamore Park's staff is great. They build great relationships with the students, and they do a wonderful job. And you know, like Dr. Bob just said a minute ago, you put the teachers in positions to be successful, and then they take off and do it. And so we couldn't do this without them, without Mrs. Kukowski. And I'd also like to recognize the parents. They do a wonderful job too. Each year we have a large number of students that are signed up for extended day, signed up for summer school. So, you know, everyone that works at Sycamore Park, parents, students, and staff, they do a great job to help us get to the point that we've gotten to.
Thank you so much. And if there's any students or people that need to leave at this point, please feel free to do so. Thank you all for coming out tonight. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, and especially the kids that didn't have to be here that came back. And thank you to the parents and coaches. Give them a minute. Okay. I'll introduce you first. Okay. Ah, just us again. We have, well, here come the late people. Sorry. No, I should have been there too. We have no student or principal reports tonight, but are very happy that our two executives came tonight. Our delegations, we had no one to sign up at this time. Is there anybody that? Oh, I'm supposed to read something first. Okay. I didn't have any. Here you are. Persons may present ideas or concerns regarding Culpeper County Public Schools. There will be no action taken by the board at this meeting, and such items will be referred to the appropriate administrators for the future information and research. Personalities and behaviors of employees are not to be presented during this period, but are to be reported to the employee's immediate supervisor. Each speaker shall limit his or her remarks to 3 minutes. No speaker shall be permitted to allocate any portion of his or her speaking time to another speaker. No speaker may address the board more than once per meeting. Delegations wishing to address the board are requested to sign in prior to the meeting with their name, address, and topic. A sheet for this purpose is provided at the entrance to the meeting room. Ms. Duncan, it's all yours.
Hi, good evening. My name is Alicia Duncan. I am in the West Fairfax District. I just wanted to take a quick minute to thank the board, all the administration and staff and teachers, our SROs, for getting us started with a wonderful school year. I also wanted to thank our custodians, maintenance, our nutrition team for getting our buildings ready, our bus drivers for getting our buses ready to go and cleaned up. I know my children had a wonderful first day of school, and we just thank everyone for making that happen for them. And I just wasn't going to speak, but I couldn't pass by without coming up here to thank everybody for doing so. We are very appreciative as parents of a child at Yale Elementary School. We thank Mrs. Fiskus and her staff for everything she's done for the kids there, including my son. And then Mrs. Kilby and her staff at Floyd T. Benz Middle School, where my daughter is in attendance. She was very nervous to get started this school year, but they quickly took those nerves away, and she is enjoying her school year as she does every year. So anyway, I just wanted to come up and say that, and look forward to working with everybody this school year, and thank you all again.
Oh, thank you, Ms. Duncan. What a wonderful message. That's so nice. Thank you. Anyone else want to tell us anything? Then we will move on. We have the consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented with A and B?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Number 7 is our action items. Dr. Brads will address our first reading for the MOU, Culpeper Sheriff's Office Resource Officer.
Thank you, Ms. Baker. Madam Chairman, members of the board, at this time, staff is presenting effectively a draft MOU, although it has been signed by our sheriff and by myself because of the meeting schedule that we've had over the summer. But at any rate, we are required to present this to the board as approval for a draft, or first read rather, and allow this item to be posted to elicit any input from the community based upon the memorandum of understanding with the school division and the Culpeper County Sheriff's Office with respect to the school resource officer program. I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have or that of staff, but we've been working on this for a while, and it's every 2 years we're supposed to revisit this, so we're doing so at this time. Again, happy to answer any questions you may have. Thank you.
Are there any questions for Dr. Brads? With no questions, is there a motion to approve the first reading of the MOU Culpeper Sheriff's Office School Resource Officer?
So moved.
Second.
Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. We are now moving on to our superintendent and staff reports. A is our superintendent updates. Dr. Brads?
Madam Chairman, members of the board, just a few required items for public notice with respect to starting the new school year. I'll try to keep up with Ms. Jamison there. First is reporting per pupil cost. You see that that's a requirement annually at the opening meeting of the school year, policy DIA. And also we will list the estimated expenditures as a budget cycle goes through. Those can only be estimates, but that is included as well. That's on the screen at this time. Also, would like to let the public know that school board policies are available online through our board docs system. If any individual would need a hard copy, they are welcome to come by a school or the central office if they would so desire a hard copy of school board policy. But this is simply notification that we do have the school board policy manual, and it's maintained and up to date, kept up to date throughout the year. Last but not least, an update as required by policy as well. Policy KG about the use of facilities by outside organizations, and also how we post that information on our facility use calendar that is also on our website. So those are some information items for the board, certainly board obligations, requirements, and also information to the public. Be happy to answer any questions, or staff would be happy to answer any question you may have on those items before I move on to a couple of other items.
Are there any questions at this time? None, Dr. Brads.
Okay, thank you. Next update, just real brief on enrollment update. As we're on day 4 of school, you have the attachment later in the agenda about enrollment. That is day 3, but I just would like to share that on day 1, first day of school, as a division, we had 7,901 students, that's K-12, plus another 116 in our pre-K program. So we had over 8,000 students on day 1, 8,017. That's with 487 no-shows. Don't panic, no-shows means they just have not arrived at school yet. These are students and families that are in the database, most of which are likely to arrive, but sometimes there are moves that occur over the summer, and it takes a while for us to get that information. That improved by day 3 that is in your list up to a total of 8,065 in K-12 enrollment, plus another 130 pre-K. That's a growth over 2 days in pre-K right there, to 8195, so nearly 8,200 students by day 3, with our no-shows reduced down to 258. And again, staff at all of our schools and our student services staff work hard in identifying those folks, what information they may need from us or vice versa, in order to either get them enrolled, meaning coming to school and get started, or letting us know that they're going to enroll in another program in order to comply with compulsory school attendance. I'd be happy to answer any question you may have about enrollment for starters.
Are there any questions? None, Dr. Brads.
For starters of the school year. I have this on here as just kind of a wishful thinking item. I'll keep it on here, FY24 budget update. I have a lot of information to report out in the General Assembly, in that we have the approved skinny budget that does not fully address all the needs of K-12 across the Commonwealth. We understand that the conferees are working as we speak to rectify some differences, resolve some differences, and possibly come out with some new information. I think I've said this more times than I want to, but we started the school year, it's August, and we don't have an official state budget yet. So hanging in there, I will say stay tuned, you'll be the first to know. Maybe not, maybe somebody else will know before we know, but that's the status of FY24. Mr. Shomo will update you shortly on the status, a bit of our budget process, but good news on that front that we are in August. We've already had July, a couple of payments, 1st of August coming in. The electronic funds transfers look to be ahead of where they were, substantially ahead of where they were last year, so maybe that's early good news in terms of how state money is rolling in. As you know, the bulk of our funding comes from the Commonwealth. Happy to answer any questions there, and we continue with our fingers crossed and wishful thinking to get some finalized numbers there. To that end, though, I had said this before, I do not want to have staff concerned in any way, shape, or form in terms of what we have put forward in terms of our budget with respect to staff compensation and benefits. That remains the same. We will stay by that unless and until something comes from the state that says otherwise. And at that point, if that happens, we have Plan B and C if we need that. So our staff should not be concerned about the state budget situation. We are taking care of them. Our 12-month staff has been compensated for their new contract year, and our other employees will be getting their payments for the new school year at the end of this month very soon. So that is all on track. I repeat, that's on track. Thank you. Be happy to answer any questions you may have.
There are no questions, Dr. Brad. We will move on to human resource update. Ms. Metzger?
Good evening, everyone. It's my pleasure to share some of the wonderful photos and stories of our new Teacher Academy and give you an update on staffing. This year, we welcome our new certified staff. We welcome them at Eastern View High School to attend 3 days of our new Teacher Academy. We ask for feedback every year from our new teachers about what they liked, what was important, and maybe what could be improved upon. So we made some changes to our format this year. We started the first day providing new staff with their badges, laptops, and email address, along with training on how to log into our systems. I want to say thank you to our technology department and our ITRTs who did a great job with that on our first day. As we entered the building, our communications director, Laura Hoover, took these great photos. They took first day of school pictures for everyone new, for their parents, for them, and group photos, as you see, from many of the schools. After a wonderful lunch buffet from Moe's Mexican, everyone got on a bus to tour the county. The teachers were divided into 2 groups by zone and got to see all of the schools, areas of the counties where their students live, and downtown Culpeper, of course, you'll see from the love sign there. We want to thank our hosts, Principals Angie Fiskus and Dan Birch, and our drivers, Mr. David GPS James and Linda Shortridge, who did a great job driving us around. Wednesday was spent at our schools, meeting and spending time with mentors and administration, touring the building and learning about what makes their schools special. The night we capped off with another fun evening at Old House Vineyards. New staff was treated to dinner from Green Ribbon and also got the opportunity to win some great gift baskets that were donated by the schools. Many local businesses contributed by providing some of the gift cards and items in the basket. As you'll see, our big winner, Miss Amy Moorhead, won the basket from CMS, a whole tenting weekend right there. So those are some of our winners. Team building and classroom management were the topics for Thursday. Thanks to our division lead mentor, Cindy Rogers, for managing the escape room. And as you'll see, most of the teachers did escape. I also wanted to give a shout out to the HR department for planning all of this and preparing for those first few days for our new teachers. Next up, we had breakfast, our welcome breakfast. We were treated by some inspiring words from our superintendent at our welcome breakfast, and our school and central office administrators also attended. And I wanted to say thank you to the board members who were able to come and say a few words to the group. It was nice to have you with us. So we have great news. By the numbers, we welcomed 92 new teachers and certified staff. 9 of these are paraeducators that have moved from paras to teachers. We also had 6 substitutes who moved into full-time positions, and we brought back 13 former employees who were rehired as well. I'm also excited that we've announced and started our pilot plan this year for our Pathways to Teaching program, where people come to us with an associate's degree, and then we pay for the next part to work with JMU to get their teacher licensure. So that is underway in our first year. I want to conclude this presentation by saying that I came to work this morning after seeing a segment of the Today Show that talked about the nation's struggle to recruit and retain teachers. That message was further reinforced by an article shared with me where the headline read, "Division faces 300 vacancies as start of school year looms." One of our neighbors. I'm so thankful to report that all of our schools have teachers for every class. All of our certified vacancies are filled. We are continuing to monitor our class sizes and student needs and will adjust as needed. But I'd like to say that I contribute this success to a few things. Number one, we have a superintendent and school board who have worked really hard to make Culpeper a great place to work by providing salary raises and quality benefits to our employees. We have a wonderful group of caring and dedicated school and central office administrators who make this a great place to work. And we have a county that welcomes new people and provides a sense of community and belonging. So thank you for letting me share some of the good news this evening. Any questions for me?
Thank you, Ms. Metzger. Is there any questions for Ms. Metzger?
I don't have a question, but I want to say thank you.
I would too, Michelle. Miracle worker.
This is the kind of article you should see in the newspaper about this county compared to some of the others. I think the places that do not offer refunds on courses taken and everything has made a big difference for our county. And that comes from everybody. It's really amazing to be able to say what you said today. And that's much for everybody in the school system to be very proud of, and the community, and the Board of Supervisors for supporting us too. So thank you.
Thank you. We now have our finance report from Mr. Shomo.
Well, I thought tonight would be kind of a good night to kind of summarize where we came from before we got into the new year. Because I tell you what, looking back, we were reflecting this evening in there. We had a couple times this past couple of years that we wondered if we were even going to survive the year for funds and whatnot. And I guess not only did we survive, we've done some pretty amazing stuff over the course of the last 24 months, 36 months. That's, to me, I've been here this month, be my 30th year, that I didn't think would ever happen this quick, to tell you the truth. I mean, it happened, and it's happening right now. And it's all good stuff. First thing we'll look at is kind of where we're at year-end balances. When we met in June, we've been able to update this sheet. We were looking at about a $2.7 million balance. We're going to end with about $3.6 million. The state sent us about $500,000 more in revenues than we anticipated, and also expenses were decreased by about $423,000. So with those two operating, that gave us about another $1 million worth of balance. So with that said, we end with about $3.6 million as a balance. And keep in mind, though, these are not audited numbers yet. They will come later, but this is what we're anticipating. And hopefully, it gets better. Another thing, too, just to look at a little history here. Below there, I put the audited balances that we came through some real uncertain times. Like the audit balance last year that we ended 6/30/22 was 5.7, and the 6/30/21 balance was 5.7. We were good fiduciaries of monies that were coming in from the federal government. We took that money and we compounded it into some true savings for a school division and for the county. And also, we're able to, on the flip side of that, to do some stuff that's going to have savings going forward for the next 5 to 10 years either way. We're becoming more efficient with our buildings. We've got some stuff in there that's going to be quality air and comfort for our employees and our students going forward that we were able to do. So with that said, it's been a pretty amazing run the last couple of years and FY23. So we're getting ready to go into FY24. We still got an uncertain kind of budget out there, but we got a good balance going forward to help us out if something terrible would go wrong, I would feel. All right, next piece, food service, same thing there. Some uncharted ground there. Last year, we actually fed all the elementary kids free. That was a big thing, a very, very big thing. And this year, new budget one of this year, we've added the middle schools in there. So that's going to be really another big thing that, you know, for the school division to accomplish with what we do. As you can see, we ended last year with that new program. We were able to squeeze out a $112,000 profit at the bottom line of food service. And also, we increased the cash balance, which is always a good thing to do. And the cash balance has also been built up over the years, but it's something good to have going forward in the future, to have to go back and something would kind of not go a little sideways on you. The last items on here, 3, 4, 5, and 6, 7, these are some of the federal monies that we've got, and it gives you an idea kind of where we go. If you go to like page 3, this is the one that's really eye-opening. We got about, we're awarded $21,202,000 in federal relief funds. And right now, we've got a balance of remaining on those funds of about $2.9 million. And just about all of them is encumbered, so it's not something we got to go out to. But I want to thank Ms. Hoover and her staff for helping us manage this. It's something that when we started this process, it was kind of eye-opening that it was coming our way. Also, we've been able to spend these monies, I guess, really diligently, and I think that we can pass pretty much any audit that comes our way that somebody, and I think we will be audited, we will, I mean, for that kind of money. And the initial audits that we have had has been pretty clean. So with that, this money has freed up other items. If you go to like the next page, page 4, you'll see some of the things that we did. Early on, ESSER 2, we actually put that learning college behind Sycamore Park. And everybody kind of forgets that, how seamless that was. But we put those classrooms and a bathroom, his and hers bathrooms back there, and it's seamless. Next thing we've been able to do, we've been able to basically update HVAC at AG, one of our older schools. When that gets done, we'll have LED controls and everything over there. So we will be in a great spot with that building. And also it'll be where we can actually control it from the maintenance shop or anywhere before we can do that. Some pretty amazing stuff. We've been able to put some technology in to keep us up to date. Just about all of our buildings have fiber hooked to them, and also the equipment to run that fiber. I mean, it's one thing to have fiber coming to your building, but if you don't have the equipment inside of it to make the thing work, it's kind of, you spent money for nothing. But we've always been fortunate with that. The other thing there was money was freed up from the state because schools didn't use their money in HVAC. We were able to really, in that CAF or HVAC grant, to really, we scored a bonus there. That was kind of a shocker that money came through to us, and that was able to basically redo AG like that. ESSER 3, we have been pretty aggressive with this. Electric buses, we got 2 of them, and a charging station. And early on, those buses are doing pretty much what we thought they were. They were going to be the thing of the future, and we're going to have, this is like a lab for us to test what we like and don't like about them. But early indications are we like everything about it. And we would love to have about 5 or 8 more if we get our hands on them, if we could pay for them. Bus replacement, that came through another little grant, Volkswagen, for some of the things that they were penalized on for emissions. We were able to step right in there and get that. Floyd T. Benz, I think it was like 10 or 11 classrooms that we put in there, and that where we used to be the central office, and that went real smooth. We were able to replace some school furniture all through the school division that was old and kind of wore out. We replaced it with stuff that can be cleaned and wiped better than the cloth stuff that was in there. Carpet replacement, we're just about got all the carpet in the school division. Still some places out there. We'd like to go to the new LVL I was reading a thing last night about some of the jobs that's going to be going away in the future in carpet laying. It's going to be one of them. Because everybody's going to LVL and wood, hard surfaces. So we're right behind it. And of course, we did one-time $1,000 bonus last year for our employees. But like I said, this was a pretty amazing year, amazing couple of years when we look back. And you see the kids kind of flourishing what we just saw up here. It seemed like we didn't miss a beat. And it was a hard time we came through. The last page, number 5, this is stuff we're still working on. The monies were sent to us last year in our operating funds, and we split those out. And these are sitting in a CIP for some construction items that will be happening over the next couple of months. One of the big things we're excited about is out at Eastern View, we're going to have an ag storage building out there. It took me a couple months to get used to that storage building thing, because I'm from an older school that we would call it a barn, but no, I can't do that. So the other thing is we're doing some amazing stuff again with some of the older one-off things, like the rooftop units, some of these big rooftop units. You'll see in some pictures that this is where these things are being paid for. We're going to have a whole system, but there are one big unit on top of roofs, like we're doing an office area or a, basically most of them are office areas. And we also, Eastern View, we're trying to get some extra classroom space over there for special ed in those locker bay areas, and some of the areas closing those up to make classrooms out. So it's still some really exciting times to come between now and springtime. You got any other questions or anything?
Are there any questions for Mr. Shomo? No, Mr. Shomo, but thank you so much for
All right,
everything.
thank you.
Thank you. Operations report from Dr. O'Brien.
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the board, Dr. Brads. I'm happy to give the operations report for this evening. First, I'm going to start with facilities and maintenance, and I will tell you, Mr. Shomo really just gave you a preview of everything I'm going to talk about and maybe show you some pictures of. In addition to all those great things that are happening, we are also adding an athletic field at CCHS. As you might know, they tend to fight to figure out what space is available for different teams to practice on. And we are adding this athletic field that's going to be behind the visitor bleachers. So a lot of work's going on there. In addition to that, they're adding a service road that kind of comes up the back. That's also going to allow some extra parking that we're looking at for our bus drivers, because we do have some more of them, which is good news, as well as all the different events that happen at the CCHS Broman Field, and they're parking on the grass, so we're trying to solve some of those issues. We did have a irrigation pipe break at CCHS the day before school started, which caused a little bit of panic, but luckily Stillwell Plumbing got out and we were able to secure that, and we will be doing the actual repairs over Labor Day. They were able to cap it when they first discovered the leak. And CCHS also has new bleachers, which was something that we've been working towards, and they're looking really good. They do have the decals coming that they'll be putting on as well, so it looks more comparable to what you see at Eastern View, for example. Sycamore Park, we did extend a sidewalk all the way to the playground, and you can see there they did some seeding, and we're going to have some grass coming in, so that's going to allow for some students who previously had difficulty getting there, especially students that may have been in wheelchairs, now can get there more readily accessible. The big project all summer that's been going on, if you've been by, is the roofing project at CMS. It's currently, all the site has TPO on it. It is, I would say, probably 99% completed. We do have the punch list coming soon for us to do our walk. And you can see that they painted the trim to match the old, I don't know what you would call it, but the old trim that's above the doorways, and they painted the doors to match as well. So with the exception of the gym, we decided to keep that blue in the athletic color, but everywhere else we matched all the colors on it. And he kind of mentioned a little bit about luxury vinyl tiles. We have done that at Emerald Hill, completed that work, and that was before they put the cove base in, as well as at Pearl Sample. The big thing to recall is how dirty carpet is and how dirty carpet can get, and you kind of get the sense of that in the picture on the left when they started peeling that up and the stuff that was under it. So we really are moving a step towards a cleaner school as well as a brighter school when you look at it. And we also added a water softener up at Emerald Hill. Finally, these are what those new RTUs, the rooftop units, look like at A.G. Richardson that were put in place. Our staff just finished some training on that as well, the train controls that go with it so that they can be remotely operated. And I was supposed to mention this at the end of last year, and somehow it skipped my mind. And I know Dr. Brads was like, you should have told him about the truck. So this is the truck. It's a bucket truck. The advantage of this is it has a 50-foot working height, and you'll see it out and about. Our electrician in particular loves this because he could get to most of those lights and everything that in the past we would have to either outsource or we would have to run a truck ourselves and use it to replace light bulbs and repair fixtures. But now we have one on staff, and we're able to get to those needs quicker in a more timely way, in a more affordable way. Other items, you can see what we've done in terms of work orders. We certainly have, we've been very busy doing a lot of painting as well at numerous locations. We did a lot of door checks. One of the things that I've always want to make sure that we do is make sure that doors close properly. And so we do get maintenance involved in that and making sure that's working along with the weekly generator checks. Food service, I don't have a by month comparison, but just to show you how we did on the first day, you could see that we are up in terms of the number of meals served, which we kind of expected with the CEP going into place at the middle school level, that's going to increase participation. And some folks on the first day out getting everything ready, as well as Dan Birch with his team at Pearl Sample, his cafeteria workers. And technology during the first week, we did a lot in terms of getting some tickets, new teachers coming on board and getting their equipment, making sure it's all working right, making any kind of repairs that we need to. We do have 30 panels that are going to go in place of projectors, and you see what those look like. And we've also started work on cabling for the esports. I call it the esports arena at CMS, which is a CCHS program that's going to be housed at CMS, along with a middle school program that's about to launch as well. And that's kind of what that space looks like, the work that was done by technology to support it. This is a new slide I'm adding. I just call it Safe Schools, even though I heard a term today called making schools harder by making them safer. And so one of the updates I'm going to start giving you is just what our security technician is doing and some of the steps we're doing to take seriously how we are working to keep our kids and our staff safe on campus. So our security technician did work with Mr. Dodson from the EOC, and they did a huge radio inventory to make sure everybody who has a Harris radio, it's tied to the right person, because it comes with a little red button that's kind of like a panic button you can push, and we want to make sure that if anybody does push that, we know exactly who it is and have a rough estimate as to where they're at. He's also started some training of our SSOs and SROs, and started doing some security walks and working on the camera listing, which is going to be of true benefit to the EOC. If they ever have to get on and look at our cameras, they're going to have a key to easily access and make determinations of where they're seeing things. We've also provided badge access for town police, just like we did for the sheriff's office. And we did a radio repeater check maintenance did at every school. Transportation, which I'm sure you probably heard some about as school begins. So far, and I have to be very clear on this, routing changes almost daily. And you kind of heard Dr. Brads talking about numbers and talking about how those numbers are shifting, how we still have 200 and some kids that are out there that haven't come back or haven't showed up. Well, that also creates havoc in routing, because the next thing you know, those kids do show up and they're standing on the side of the road. And the bus originally didn't stop there, but now has to. Or we have to go in and route a bus that now has to go down another road and make 3 additional turns before they get back to the route they were originally on. So when we talk about routing, it's a puzzle, and it's always a moving target. So I always try to emphasize, especially now, being here, being on TV, that parents really need to go back and revisit the routing that we post, but above all, talk to their driver. Kids can talk to their driver. If the driver has to change a start time, which they do, they will tell the students, and they'll communicate that to them. But as you can see, we routed 7,357 students. And then by September, that number went down to 5,691, and that was last year. While this year, we're at 7,225 students. So overall, we routed less students this year than we did last year. Part of that is because we did make some changes to our walk zone. We put it at around 1/4 mile, but we actually used roads to create our boundaries instead of just saying blindly 0.25 miles from school property to this location. Because we did have some parents that are 0.27 miles and measured it and said, I want a bus. So the reason why we just said, no, we're just drawing a line saying, this street makes a good boundary. We're using that boundary. We're using this boundary. And again, this is also talking about secondary students. So we did those things, and we also make sure that it's an area that's conducive to walking, that they have sidewalks, or that they have some kind of place that they could get to school safely. And we do look at that. And we did include on the website, if a parent does have a concern, to specifically tell us what that concern is so that we can address it. Overall, we have 69 buses and 5 vans that run daily. The Stop Finder application is going to be rolled out on August 28th for elementary and September 4th for secondary, but surprisingly, it's already working for a lot of parents. I'm not sure why, but we think it's just the way the Synovia is syncing up and sending that information to Stop Finder. And we also had Versa do a safety walk at our bus shop. A big thank you to Amanda Washington with HR. She's been working hand in hand with Versa just to make sure that we're in compliance, not just OSHA items, but just general safety items. It always is a benefit to get extra eyes on what you're doing in some place like a maintenance area, a garage, to make sure that we're as safe as we possibly can be. So that's been a big help as well, and we've been making changes as recommended. And that's all I have, unless you have some questions that you'd like to ask.
Other questions? Ms. Hutchins?
Just like to ask about transportation and our longest bus rides, which some are, come out into my district, into Richardsville. And I've heard some concerns from some grandparents and parents about
Absolutely.
the distance that the students have to ride.
Yeah, absolutely. It is long distance. We recently did a presentation for a member of the Board of Supervisors who asked that same question during the summer. And part of the struggle, as we also explained to her, is it's 35 miles from Pearl Sample to Richardsville. So it is a great distance. It's not a simple route, and buses don't go directly there. They actually have stops along the way, and a lot of those stops take them down roads that they have to turn around and come back, or what we call turnabout. They go down a road, have to come back. We also don't have the advantage of community stops when we get out to Richardsville area. A lot of those are single door stops along the roads. And we also try to drop students off on the right side. And this is really elementary that I'm talking about. Because we want them not to have to cross a road and to do it in a safe way. So all those things kind of play havoc when it comes to our ability to route and deliver children in a timely way. Can we do it better? Absolutely. Are there ways for us to do it better? Well, we've been trying to find a solution, but above all, I think we have a really good dialogue now with Mr. Birch at Pearl Sample, so we can figure out ways that we might be able to cut down the time. And that could include, for example, loading some of those long buses like 17 and 23 and getting them out of Pearl before the other buses to shave off some time. And we did a great job today with getting the buses out even sooner at Pearl Sample, but that's all part of it as well. The other thing we've been struggling with is we're still having parents who aren't at curbside, the pre-K through third grade, that need to be there to meet the bus. For example, tonight I know bus 17 had 2 incidences of that, where that bus is then halted and waiting for somebody to call that residence and say, hey, we need you to come out and meet the bus, your child's there, and the bus is just sitting there. So there's all kinds of challenges. I'm not saying that's a Richardsville problem. That's a problem everywhere in the county, making sure that parents are out there. But the uniqueness of the location, the way the roads are laid out, as well as the challenges of not having community stops, all those things kind of play a role in terms of how much time it takes to get out there. But can we do something better? I'm more than happy to investigate and explore any kind of options to get us there.
You said we had more bus drivers.
We do. We have
Alluded
2
to that.
starting on Monday. So that we're going to certainly have all of our routes covered. I do have my assistant director has been driving, and so is our dispatcher, just to make ends meet. But we're thinking, come next week on Monday, we have 2 drivers coming in that we will be fully staffed and be able to manage that.
But we could use more.
Oh, we always can use more. Yes, ma'am. That's all. And
More
and
bus
I will
drivers
say,
can
if you
help
and I know we
the
just
situation.
mentioned about HR in the news of other what you see on the TV. You know, the bus shortage is happening, driver shortage is happening. You might have heard about Kentucky where they had to close classes for the first 3 days. I think we've done a very good job, and part of the benefits that we offer, you know, full-time paid position with personal leave and the benefits. You know, most other divisions you talk to, they might pay a little more per hour, but it's still part-time. So we really try to do a good job of taking care of our drivers, and I think it's reflected in our retention.
I noticed on the first day that when I visited a couple of the schools that buses were sitting there. Are those drivers being employed in the school during the day? Is that why the buses were sitting there, so that they have a longer day,
It
possibly?
depends, because sometimes we park out buses
Okay,
at
okay.
schools just to make them
Easier to get to.
easier to get to,
Okay.
yeah, especially in the afternoon, so they don't have to drive them anywhere
Right.
else.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely, yes, ma'am. Any other
Other
questions?
Ms. Desalegn?
Are we also fully staffed with the attendants that we were trying to do last year as far as the bus helpers?
For the
all
elementary?
yeah.
No, not yet. No,
No,
ma'am.
okay.
We're still working on that. We actually have quite a few now that are on general ed runs, so we are making gains in that
Okay.
location. Most of the time, as soon as we get aides, we
Make
put
them
them on
bus drivers.
special ed routes, and then we start to try to get them onto general ed routes, but other things come up, or they might look for other opportunities. They might decide, you know what, I'd rather work in the cafeteria or be a pair or something like that. And we certainly encourage that if that's what their choice is.
Okay.
But we are working
Still
towards that
looking
as
at
a
that.
goal.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Certainly.
Are there any other questions? Thank
Hang on.
Thank
All
you
right,
very
thank
much,
you.
Dr. O'Brien. All righty. We are up to our board member reports. Should we start with Ms. Brown? Comments?
Sure. And being here tonight and reflecting on all that's gone on, I started this and the pandemic started. And we went from feeling like, you know, if you don't meet the budget as a school system, the board can go to jail, which wasn't something I had in mind in my future. So we went through a really hard time as a group, and I think that made us even stronger. The student awards tonight, you know, where did that come from? It comes from the support that they get. You had to feel the love that the coaches have for their children. And how many hours is that putting in? When I first began working in Culpeper, there was a 7-period day and only 1 period was an ag class. That was it, 1 ag class, 1 period a day. And now we have 2 thriving very large ag positions or educational programs going on in both high schools. You have to look at that and say, you know, we must be doing something right. And if nothing else, we're certainly trying to do it right. So I'd like to say that I appreciate everything that's happened and to get school started. Very much appreciate your comments, Ms. Duncan. And we do have excellent schools. We have excellent people in it. Bus, I listened to somebody say, you know, in one county, they're going to pick up the elementary schools on one day, the middle schoolers on another day, and the high schools on another day. And good luck to y'all on what you're going to do as far as getting the kids to school. We are blessed in this county. And so if nothing else, I'd like to say thank you to everybody. And if you are looking for a job, bus driving is wide open, and so is trying to be an aide on a bus. We are always hiring, so don't think that there isn't employment in Culpeper County that you can get to that isn't necessarily 40 hours a week. So please reach out and decide that perhaps it's something you might want to do. But I'm very proud of this county. I'm very proud of the community and all the support they get from the parents all the way to, like I said, the Board of Supervisors, the programs that we have. I mean, I could go on, and everybody else has the exact same things to say, so I may have taken some of your thunder. But thank you, and maybe I'll speak last next time.
Thank you, Ms. Brown. Ms. Hutchins?
I just want to thank everybody, and I think our speaker made some of those comments that people think summer is vacation time for the school system, and that is actually the busiest time. Trying to hire folks, trying to get the school buildings repaired, up to date, cleaned, getting everything prepared for the first day, and making sure the first day comes off smoothly. Had the opportunity to visit a couple schools. Hope to get to everybody in the next week or so. But it's just wonderful to see those smiling faces back in. Everybody's so excited. Some tears, always, at the beginning of the year, especially for the little ones. But it's a wonderful time of excitement and joy and opportunities for our students. And our support from our county is amazing. BIE Day always blows me away, where our businesses and nonprofits have the opportunity to come and meet our teachers and show them their support and offer goodies, of course, always. But it's a wonderful community that supports. Of course, we are the largest employer in the county, and we greatly appreciate the support that we get. And thank you, teachers and staff, administration, for making the year such a smooth start.
Thank you, Ms. Hutchins. Ms. Smith?
Yeah, I would say ditto to all of that. Yes, I was going to say a few of the things you said, Ms. Brown. I just want to say, usually when we get emails or phone calls, there's some kind of complaint. And I've gotten a few in the last week, but they've all been positive, and that's really cool. So, and again, that is thanks to all the hard work, and we don't take that lightly. We want to say thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Smith. Ms. Desalegn?
I wanted to just reiterate again how proud I am of the HR staff. But it's not just HR, you know, the principals work really hard having to interview everyone, so do all the rest of the administration, the different positions, and it's really a team, and it's very exciting to start the school year fully staffed, as close to that as we can be, and we'll be working on the bus stuff. But thank you all for your hard work. I know it is a lot of hard work, and the summer's been busy, and I wasn't able to get to any of the new teacher events this year, so I'm looking to get by some of the schools and meeting and welcoming some of the new teachers this year, and it's very exciting. Thank you.
Ms. Burnett?
Ditto, ditto, ditto. No, I wanted to say congratulations to our athletes and their coaches. We're very blessed to have these coaches and these families participate in our athletic programs. And I wanted to say congratulations to our FFA students and their sponsors. The amount of time that goes into these activities, I know as a parent of children that were involved in everything, and it is incredible, the amount of time that these families and these coaches and staff and everyone put into this. So it's a great undertaking, and we're so happy to see our students excel. Want to say congratulations to Sycamore Park, and thank you to Ms. Duncan for your kind words during the delegation portion, and HR, wow, 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 wow. I attended your new teacher dinner, your new teacher breakfast, the Narcan training. That was amazing. I went to the conference on education over the summer and learned about some great programs that we are looking into implementing. And also attended a back-to-school prayer at Yale. We've got a great staff, a great board. Our teachers are incredible, our principals, everyone. We have a wonderful community, and I just thank everyone for working as hard as you do and contributing to making school happen and making it a success. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Burnett. It's Yale, yes. Just ditto, 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 ditto. But I think we're off to a very positive start with everybody, even you guys all smiling out there. So we have to stay positive, stay kind, be good, and wish everyone the best year ever. Okay, we'll move on then. We're done with our comments. And of course, I can't see. Okay. Information items. All of our committee reports are on board docs. Our membership that Dr. Brad's actually told us is also located on board docs. And our employee appreciation, there's a list of each week which employee group we are showing appreciation. And we should know that our September 18th through 22nd is our employee appreciation for the Family Resource Center staff. And don't forget them, because they're a little bit off campus there, but they're all good. And our future meeting dates, the administration committee meeting for tomorrow has been canceled. But we have capital planning coming up on the 16th, followed by our next work session on the 28th, and the finance committee September 11, and the regular board meeting following that on September 11. We will now need a motion to go into closed session.
So make a motion that the school board convene a closed session to consider the following personnel matters pursuant to the Code of Virginia 2.2-3711A1. The appointment of certified personnel, the appointment of classified personnel, the transfer of certified personnel, the transfer of classified personnel, the separation of certified personnel, the separation of classified personnel, the approval of instruction supplements for the 2023-24 school year, the separation of instructional supplements for the 23-24 school year, the approval of club coaching supplements for the 23-24 school year, the separation of club coaching supplements for the 23-24 school year, the approval of long-term substitute teachers for the 23-24 school year, the approval of substitute teachers for the 23-24 school year, the approval of 23-24 fall coaching supplements for CCHS, the approval of 23-24 fall coaching supplements for EVHS, the approval of 23-24 fall coaching supplements for CMS and FTBMS, the discussion of the performance of named employee A, and the discussion of student matters related to named students A through I religious exemption.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you very much. And thank you, everyone, for coming tonight. We are now in closed soon in closed session. Yeah, 5-minute break, please.